We are moments away from seeing the senior final take to the circuit in just a few moments' time. 22-lap final, 30.5-kilometre race distance. This is going to be. And, of course, they've got a prime view of the circuit for this one. A look at the championship standings at the moment. Like we're saying, Joe Turney now leading that 265 championship points from Thibaut Ramekers. And those two starting very far apart from each other in the race. Finn McLaughlin is currently third, and I don't think is going to have enough to really close in on Ramekers. But we'll have to see what happens because, well, for Finn McLaughlin, he starts fourth on the fourth row for this one. Now, the yellow flag has waved at the start of the grid. Now, I think drivers have confused that yellow flag with a green flag. And mechanics now are running off to go and grab the drivers. Now, of course, they've now stopped again. And that means that the engines have stalled. This is a very unusual situation because, well, all season and all in their racing careers, these drivers are aware that when a race is about to start, first of all, you see a yellow light, and then after 30 seconds, you see a green light. Well, to keep on schedule, they're going to throw out the green light now, and they're going to send the grid along, and let's see what happens in this one, and hopefully nothing comes their way. Ryan Manchester there on the gantry, showcasing the start of this race. Well, engines are all now fired up as the field heads through. Let's take you through the full starting lineup for this race. Freddie Lloyd and Joe Turney making it an All-Britain row number 1. Gus Lawrence and Matthew Higgins making it an All-Britain row number 2, with Joseph Smith and Salim Anar for Colombia on row number 3. Finn McLaughlin from Ireland with Scott Lindbom from Sweden start from row number 4. The two drivers both part of the Junior Red Bull program starting on row number 4. Dries van Langendonk and Lewis Werrell round out row number 5. They'll have Olin Galley and Lewis Gilbert on row number 6. David Kozma and Dmitry Matviev round out row number 7. They'll have Elliot Kaczynski and Kai Rillarts on row 8. Noah Montero and David Walter on row 9. Lewis Francis and Jimmy Elias round out the top 20 on row 10. They'll have Lovaway Sam Budler and Luna Flusha on row 11. Zach Drummond and David Abataro go from row 12. Guy Albag and Matteo Giaccardi on row 13. Thibaut Ramekers, who's in the fight for the championship, starts this one on the 14th row of the grid and will start alongside the Spaniard of Hugo Marti. Row 15 is Fred Green with Alexander Bondarev, and then it is Tom Louier and Andy Consani on row 16. Ian Eichmans from Austin Gale, Guillaume Bouzard and Michael Adair round out row number 18, and the full starting lineup for this one. Sun is shining, air temperature is rising, and the championship is close, but it's not settled just yet. But with what we've been seeing over the course of this weekend, it sort of feels like it could be settled already, but we just don't know. We'll have to wait and see what happens at the end of this one. There, the live feed from Race Control, Joanna Falcao and Mikael Redin in Race Control, watching the drivers out on circuit in constant communication with Martin Bean, the race director, and of course all of the stewards and officials out on circuit, ready to go for what is set to be a very exciting 22-lap final. Well, let's see what happens in this race. 22 laps is upon us as the smoke starts to clear. Drivers now should be nice and slow, bunched up, ready to start the proceedings. Well, at the moment, we are single file at the moment, and drivers now are very late to get themselves formed up here. This is quite unusual. The back of the grid is still not formed up at all, and they're going very early. I'd be amazed if this is green, but it is green. We are racing, and it is a great start then for Lloyd. And look how much he's trying to get the temperature into the tyres through turn number 1. They all get through the tunnel cleanly, and they all get into the banking all together, which is nice to see. Back at the front then, you can see the rest of the field all trying to scramble to get position over the Litchfield Bridge. Down the hill they go, but look at Freddie Lloyd get away at the front here. It's Freddie Lloyd from Joe Turney, Gus Lawrence and Matthew Higgins. 1, 2, 3, 4. Joseph Smith is right there in P5 right now, but he's under pressure from Salim Anar. Salim Anar in the Prema Cup tries to get down the inside. They go wheel to wheel, and he gets through and up into the top 5. that drives behind. Kaczynski on the outside there, trying to get involved in some of the battles that are happening, but he can't find a way through. He stays there behind. The train files their way through Bobby Gain corner and into the Mike Wilson complex for the first time. We'll call them through, but at the moment, you can see there that it is Freddie Lloyd who leads the way from Joe Turney, Gus Lawrence, Matthew Higgins, Salim Hanar, Joseph Smith, Scott Lindblom, Olin Galley, Finn McLaughlin and Lewis Werrell, who rounds out the top 10 at this moment. Eyes on these top three as they head over the Litchfield Bridge. It's a clean breakaway for the top three, but Joe Turney, just as of yet, is not going to go on the attack. Who is going to go on the attack? And that is the Colombian of Salim Hanar, who gets the go-ahead from Matthew Higgins and says, just go, go, go. Don't defend, don't worry about me. You try and catch up to those three up ahead. And that's exactly what those two are going to start doing. Still no change between the top two here. And this is going to be one of those classic smart drives that we're going to see from Turney right now. He's going to keep calm, keep his tyres cool, keep his tyres in a good temperature range and sit behind Lloyd for, I suspect, the majority of this race. Of course, he'll be in constant communication with the team from the sidelines, of course, with the hand gestures from the mechanics. That is how they communicate here. As Salim Hanar sets the fastest lap of the race, 55.686 for the Prema Racing team. He's currently there in P4, and now with that clean air, is starting to close in. Gus Lawrence is losing touch now with Turney and Lloyd up ahead. But I suspect as soon as they start battling, which we might have to wait some time here for, we might see these gaps close up. Now, this is one of those interesting moments here that you do expect to see this in a senior final, where unless there's a mistake that is made by one of the drivers, you might not see a move here until the dying stages of a race when they just try to suss out what's been happening. Because remember, Lloyd's been rapid this weekend. So has Turney. Both of them have been winning these races, and already there we're seeing a little bit of a different racing line. Turney, who I think's checked over the shoulder and can see that Gus Lawrence has closed back in, is now starting to sense a little bit more danger coming from the rear, and down the inside goes Gus Lawrence. He moves up into second place. The driver for the PF International Karting team gets up into second place. His home circuit, quite literally, the team based here. The driver from the UK makes his way up into P2. But Lloyd now breaks away. And we have seen Lloyd over the course of this weekend in the dry conditions get to the front and just open up the gap. The setup here from the Fusion team is absolutely superb. They do run on the Kart Republic chassis, but the satellite team knows this circuit inside out, and they have put probably the best setup they can find on Lloyd's wagon, and he has broken away now, 0.4 of a second clear as McLaughlin now sets the fastest lap of the race. McLaughlin is at the back of the second group behind. He's trying to push his way through, but Smith is still there. Higgins has dropped back as well. He's got Lewis Werrell for company. Again, a little further back there, Olin Galley. Jimmy Elias has got a full second between himself and Galley, so the top 10 are close. 11th place downwards, though, is a whole other story. Gus Lawrence, though, is he able to close in on Freddie Lloyd right now? The gap just under half a second. What's it going to be when they cross the line? Is Lloyd opening the gap? No, is the answer. He's not. It's coming down, but fractionally. I'm talking milliseconds here and there in parts of the circuit. But Lloyd leads the way, and let's have a look at the sector times. Where is Gus Lawrence faster? Well, looking at Sector 1, Gus Lawrence is faster by quite some way, actually. A full 1/10 of a second faster, but despite that, here comes Turney. Joe Turney back into the lead of this one. The championship at the moment is stagnant. No changes whatsoever. Turney is in the lead of that one. Ramekers is second. McLaughlin, in his position, is currently third in the championship. Well, let's see what he can do. McLaughlin currently sitting there sixth. Might have the advantage to gain some more places here. there are the two Red Bull Junior drivers, Linus Stern, pushing their way through on this one, but Lindblom part of Fusion, McLaughlin part of VDK. So not teammates, but certainly in the future could possibly be. The top running here though, top four, still Linus Stern, Lloyd, Turney, Lawrence and Hanar. Salim Hanar has closed in as well now. Keep an eye on the Colombian on the Prema kart. Certainly one to watch in this final. Delivered well in the qualifying heats as well. Certainly went Salim Hanar's way. A couple of qualifying heat wins. Did suffer with a P13 in one of them. Really pushed strong though at the end of the day, because the Colombian won the last race of the day yesterday. And was that a mistake from Turney? I think it was. He unsettled the kart there through the pit's bend, and you saw it on the exit as off the track. Is that Zach Drummond? No, it's Michael no, that's the 281. That is Zach Drummond. Zach Drummond, the Briton, is off the circuit and he is furious. He is absolutely livid at someone out there, and I'm not quite sure who he's livid with, as Salim Hanar dives it down the inside of Gus Lawrence. He gets up into third place now, but all the meanwhile, Freddie Lloyd is breaking away here. Now the gap is still less than a second. Turney knows he's quick around here. He proved that in time qualifying and in the qualifying heats. So you've got the two dominant forces this weekend, now 1 and 2, with 0.8 of a second between them. What's the gap as they cross the line? It's 0.887. It crosses the line. Oh, the gap is going up. Turney is not closing in on Freddie Lloyd, but the gap's increasing. And Salim Hanar can see that and might take the opportunity to get up into second place. Investigation flags coming out, the first one of the race, and it is going to Andy Consani, the driver of the Sodi kart, currently running around in 19th place. Well, the Frenchman, who's gained 13 places in this race, might have done one of those overtakes a little bit more harshly than he should have done. Luna Flusha as well is on a good run, 4 places gained, the Spaniard up into P18. Jimmy Elias just outside the top 10. Elias, who has had a pretty dismal second half of his weekend, certainly delivered in some of the races, but got caught out in quite a few of them as, well, Kai Rillarts retires it to the pit lane. The 293 going no further, and judging by that bandage on his elbow, sporting an injury there is Kai Rillarts from one of his previous races this weekend, so maybe that is due to it, but these are very physical, these karts. If you are running with an injury on circuit, it does plague you a little bit. Right, changes have happened in the back here, because now Finn McLaughlin has got in front of his fellow Red Bull Junior driver, but also he's got past the likes of Joseph Smith, and now they're battling away in that mid-pack section. And, well, something's happened to McLaughlin, I think, because Finn McLaughlin's tumbling down my order, but I don't see yellow flags out there. So did he just miss a sector for Finn McLaughlin? Where is he? Where is the Irishman on the VDK? Is he still in this race? Because I cannot see yellow flags out there. So Finn McLaughlin disappears from view. Looking into the chicane here. There, he makes contact. And he does miss the timing loop. That is why Finn McLaughlin has tumbled down the order. But I suspect now he's crossed the line, he will retake that. And yeah, you can see rejoins the circuit just behind. So there was drama there for Finn McLaughlin, just out braking himself, clipping the rear bumper of Smith. So where did McLaughlin go down to? I think not too far further. There is Ian Eichmans, unfortunately. He'll go no further. Driver running with the Birolart team this weekend. Not the final two, remember, and that means that that's going to be a tough week next week. Right, Joe Turney is starting to close in on Lloyd here now, and these two behind, Salim Hanar and Gus Lawrence, are ready for it. They are ready to pick up the pieces of a battle that I'm sure will rage on for the next few laps. Lloyd and Turney are closing in 0.4 of a second, and Gus Lawrence wants to be in front of that group, because he can see they're closing in. He communicates with Salim Hanna saying, right, we can see they're closing in. They're going to start fighting. Let's start working together. Let's close this gap. Let's be ready for the Lloyd and Turney battle. But that's not going to help the situation at all. Running wide out of the Fullerton S's, stepping out there goes Gus Lawrence, just trying to carry a bit too much speed into some of these corners here. But we'll keep an eye on the gap between these two, because across the line, it's come down to 0.3 of a second. Lawrence and Turney is down to around 1.5 seconds at the moment. But as soon as they start battling, to which we will see that, these two will be right on the scene. Lindblom is leading the train behind from Van Langendonk. Smith from McLaughlin, so McLaughlin's back to 8th place on the timing. So it was just a glitch there as he had to take to the grass. This is the lead fight. Second and first, third and fourth just behind, going into the Fullerton S's. They are tantalizingly close. And as soon as this gets on, and it will get on because we're on lap 13 of 22 right now, time is very quickly running out, and knowing that these two drivers are so fast, they are so talented around this circuit, that they right now need to just focus on getting these karts to the end. But who will be in front? Turney is chasing Lloyd as there's been drama in the background. Two drivers off the circuit, and I think that's Luna Flusha who's got caught out with Elliot Kaczynski, the Prema driver, and the Ward Racing driver going no further as Lewis Werrell picks up a warning flag. So Werrell's not having a great race in this one either, is currently in 11th place. But here on your screen is the lead battle. Lloyd and Turney, it's closed in, 1/10 of a second. It's on now between the two Britons. This year's European karting champion in the OK category of Joe Turney. Lloyd, former Miami Euro Series champion, now starting to battle against each other in this field. Through the banking they go, and the two of them stay line astern for the time being. But remember, the first glimpse of a battle, and Lawrence and Hanna will be there. That gap's opened up to now 2 seconds between the top two and third and fourth. But look at Turney here. He's going to go for it. It's the first move, and it's down in towards hairpin number 2. And that was a clean move there. No drama. They didn't lose too much time. And Turney communicates there with Lloyd saying, right, okay, yes, okay, I've got past you, but let's think about it. You can go for the move if you want, but trust me, Lawrence and Hanna will be right with us. And he's just trying to, I think, reassure Lloyd a little bit there. For the championship, Joe Turney, he leads it. He's clear now by nearly 60 championship points from Ramakas. Ramakas, we don't even know where he is at the moment. He's just outside, he's right down in the field. He's 25th place at the moment for Thibaut Ramakas, second in the championship. But again, I think he's just focused on that right now. He's not going to have the results in this race. The team certainly need to work on things, getting ready for next weekend when all these drivers will be back. But right here, right now, Turney is looking a lot more comfortable now than Lloyd. Turney's, the one thing that Turney can take away from a lot of these races is he can look after these tyres. He can keep them cool, he can keep them calm, and he can push them forward. Turney, who started this one on the front row, second place, only a gain of 1 spot. But the Briton, who won last time out as well, certainly looking strong. Joe Turney over this season has delivered in these finals. He won in Slovakia. It's the only race he's won this season in the final. Ramakas only winning Val d'Argenton in France. But for Lloyd, this for him is his first appearance here. We've seen him in Valencia where he scored 8 points, scored no points over the rest of the season. But this weekend here in the United Kingdom has been his best performance. These two have changed again. Salim Hanna back into third place, has got past Gus Lawrence. But I don't think they're going to catch these two here. Lloyd is tumbling off the back of Joe Turney. Here was the overtake again for the lead. just down the inside, and there you can see Joe Turney saying, right, thanks, let's go for it. Let's break away. Nothing too dramatic there. And Lloyd again, just having to think what he can do now to unload. Maybe Lloyd is leading Turney into a false sense of security here. Maybe he's saving these tyres, we just don't know. But the battle for third place, I think, is now on, because they know they're not going to catch up to the drivers in front. There, unfortunately, Tom Louillet for France and the Tony Kart team is out of this final. There you can see he joins Ian Eichmanns in Parc Ferme, out of their race. Eyes on this one here, though. Salim Menard and Gus Lawrence line astern as there's yellow flags over on the bridge and two karts off the track there. And that looks to me like that's Andy Consani and Noah Montero, the Sodi Kart and the Kart Republic driver, out of this race in the dying stages. On to lap 19 of 22. And Hannah and Lawrence have now broken away as well. There's nothing that I think Lawrence can do in the bag here. The top three look settled through the corner. This is what happened between the, oh dear, and just 2 into 1 don't go. And yeah, both of them trying to go for the apex, and oh dear, falling over there. Bit heavy damage there to the wagons. Not what they wanted to see at all. But there, Turney breaking away now. The gap is 0.8 of a second between himself and Lloyd. The race leader this weekend. Been absolutely superb between the two of them. Lloyd certainly showing some true pace here, and is a sign to see that maybe in the coming weeks in the OK Senior category. But Turney from Lloyd, 1-2. Still Salim Menard and Gus Lawrence, 3rd and 4th place from Scott Lindblom and McLaughlin. They're next to each other again. 5th and 6th place battle is on, as the two of them, I'm sure, will be going wheel to wheel for the majority of this race, but they are quite some way behind the group up ahead. And I can see that group heading into hairpin number 1 now, right behind your shot there. While we look at Turney and Lloyd, absolutely superb performance over the course of this season. Consistency has been there, but at Valencia, Joe Turney not even scoring any points, finishing 2nd in Val d'Argenton, winning in Slovakia, a P4 in the final in Kristianstad. And here as well, points have been looking absolutely superb. There is Salim Menard and Gus Lawrence still battling away, but Lindblom and McLaughlin, that battle for P5 is on. They're coming through the banking right now, but we'll keep a close eye on that one as we're in the dying stages of this race. All eyes focused on the top runners in this as, oh, there's Scott Lindblom. There is Scott Lindblom, the Fusion driver, out of this race on the bridge. He'll go no further. He was battling with McLaughlin. He was battling with Van Langendonk and Higgins. And unfortunately, the Swede in the last few laps of this race goes no further, and it was. He just turned in there, and McLaughlin was alongside. Now, of course, those two, I'm sure, will disagree. That angle, it doesn't really show us anything. The speed's too quick. Look like they were well alongside there, but that'll be one for the stewards to deal with. But that certainly is not what you want to see. The two, well, potentially future teammates in the world of racing, both of them with the junior Red Bull program, and colliding here in the world of karting at PF International. We're on the final lap of this race, and it's been a calm one in the senior category. It's been a controlled one. But in the 2024 season, the FIA European champion can now be crowned a champion of the future as well. In 2024, it's Joe Turney for the United Kingdom across the line. He wins in the United Kingdom at the PF International Kart Circuit. He becomes not only a European champion, but a double champion in the Senior OK category in 2024 as he primes himself ready to battle against the world in a week's time. Turney and Lloyd finish 1-2. Salim Hanar finishes in 3rd place ahead of Gus Lawrence. Finn McLaughlin finishes inside the top 5 from Dries van Langendonk, Matthew Higgins, David Walter, Lewis Werrell and David Cosma inside the top 10. But for Joe Turney, he brings it back down now as he brings it in to Parc Ferme. It was plagued with a nose cone penalty in his last qualifying heat yesterday, which forced him to start on pole for the Superheat 2, which is not the end of the world at all by a long stretch of the imagination. But he puts himself right on the sharp end, winning his Superheat and putting it on the top spot in the final. Joe Turney wins from Freddie Lloyd, Salim Hanar from Lawrence, the top 4. Joseph Smith then at the end of that one finishes in P11 from Jimmy Elias, Olin Gali from Lewis Francis, Hugo Marti from Dmitry Matviev. Alexander Bondarev has a superb drive in that.